Congratulations on your purchase of Float. You've obviously figured out what to do with the videotape. It's now time to explore what's inside this little envelope. If you open the envelope up and reach inside, you'll notice there's a playing card. Wrapped around that card is some black thread and a piece of magician's wax. These two items are very important. You'll see why in just a moment. You're probably wondering how this thread will make that bill float. I mean, obviously you can see this thread, but this thread is actually made up of many little fibers. We're going to show you how to separate that thread right now. Here's what you need to do. Take the one end of the thread, take your fingers, and fray it just like that. As you pull at the end, you'll notice the little fibers will begin to separate. Grab one of those little strands and pull. It helps to do this in a well-lit area against a contrasting background. Once you pull that little fiber out, just like that, take a small piece of wax, roll it into a little ball like this, place the wax on the end of that separated piece. And now we're going to attach that piece to a wall. Like that. It pays to do this on a surface that's opposite of what you're doing. So a light surface like white would work best. Once the thread's attached to the wall, slowly pull the thread down, leaving that one strand behind. It's going to bunch up. As it bunches up, keep working the thread down. This is a very thin strand, so if you pull too hard it will snap, so be very careful as you do this. The first piece you pull out is always the most difficult. Once you get that first piece out, the rest come out much easier. Once you strip the thread, you should measure a piece from approximately your chest to the floor. Once you have a piece that length, you can take a small ball of wax like this, apply the wax ball to the thread, and break the thread below the wax. Remember, you can always make the thread shorter. You can't make it longer. Squeeze the wax around the thread so that the thread gets looped up inside there. You can see it's now attached to the end of the thread. Now, for extra support and to make sure that the wax stays on the thread when you're floating objects, all you need to do is take a toothpick. Cut off the end of the toothpick, approximately 1/8 of an inch, just like that, and stick the small end into the ball of wax. Push the toothpick into the ball like that, work the wax around the toothpick, and then I like to take the thread and wrap it around the wax ball just like this. Pull on it a little bit. That actually causes the thread to wrap around the toothpick. Once it's wrapped around the toothpick, I work the wax a little bit more, and that gives you a lot more strength when floating heavier objects. Now, after the toothpick is applied to the bottom ball of wax, do the exact same thing to the top ball of wax. Once the top ball is the same as the bottom, take your dollar, or whatever you choose to float, stick the ball of wax to the center of the dollar. I normally place the ball right there on the face, and I'll explain why in a few moments. Once I have that placed there, I crumple the bill around the wax, and now we're ready to hook this to our body. Take that top ball of wax, remove it from the wall, and attach that ball to the top of your thumbnail right here. The great thing about magician's wax is it sticks very easily. It's also the color of your fingernail. So if you take it, you can actually push it to shape the outline of your thumb. And I know you see it, but you know it's there. When you're doing the trick, nobody's looking at your thumb, so don't worry about that. Now the thread is attached to my thumb with the wax, and also attached to the bill with the wax. Now, take the thread, which is attached like this, hold it in front of you, and slowly lay the thread over the center of your hair and down, just like this. I'm going to show you what this looks like by using a thicker thread that you can see on the video. That way you know where the thread is at all times. Alright, now I'm going to show you all that again, only using this thread. That way you can see where the thread is at all times. Once again, we attach it to the finger, like before. Also attached to the bill. Now I hold the thread out like this. I lean forward, I drape the thread over my hair, and I bring my hand down. The thread just rests right in the center of your hair. It actually falls down into the hair and creates a little trail. If you have hair that you comb over, you may want to tuck the thread into the hair, that way it's down by the roots. If you have a part or part it in the center, you can lay it right in the part. Anyways, once you have the thread hooked up like this, let me turn to the side so you can see how it looks. Once again, over the head and down to the thumb. The further you lean like this, the further the bill will be away from your body. From the front, just like that. People who have trouble making the bill float normally stand too tall, like this, stand straight up. By doing that, you're going to cause the bill to hit your body. Once again, if you stand like this, the bill hits your body. Now, I'm going to show you the basics. First step, place the bill in your hand like this. Pull on this hand down until all the slack in the thread is gone. Slowly lower your hand. By lowering your hand, the bill goes up. As you lower your hand, turn your head. If you turn your head to the right, the bill will go right. If you turn your head to the left, the bill will go left. If you add those two motions together, it will look like this. Now obviously with your thread it will go through your hair a lot easier than it is with this thick thread. We'll switch to the invisible thread in just a moment. I'm going to do that once again from the side. Let me rehook this. I lay it over my hair like this, turn to the side, and once again I pull down with this hand, turning my head, and you can actually see the bill go from one hand to the other. Now, that's step one. Step two is proving to people that there's no thread attached to that bill. Here's how we do that. Obviously we know we can run our hands underneath the bill because there's nothing there. We can make a loop with our fingers and bring our fingers around the bill this way, proving there's nothing attached from the sides. The only obstacle is this piece of thread from the top. So, what I do is I go under like this, I go around like this, and when I want to show the top, all I have to do is take my hands in front of the thread. Note my hands aren't touching the thread. From the side you'll see, underneath, around, and in front. And if you do it at speed, it looks like this. Now, let's switch back to the other invisible thread and I'll show you how the bill looks as it's moving. But it's this hookup the entire time. Back to the invisible thread. This is awkward at the beginning because you're not used to being hooked up like this. Give it some time. Practice 5 or 10 minutes in front of a mirror until you feel comfortable using the thread. If you have trouble with the thread sliding off your head and you get discouraged early, don't worry, at the end of this tape we'll show you some other tips to make it even easier. Now watch. Place the bill in your hand like this. We're going to start with the basics before we do all the trick moves where we show no thread. Place the bill in your hand. Tighten up the tension on the thread by lowering this hand. All you have to do is lower the hand a little bit. That causes the bill to come out of your other hand. Turn your head, and the bill will go from hand to hand. As easy as this looks, it'll still take you a few minutes to practice. Once again, just practice going hand to hand. Once you get comfortable being hooked up to the thread like that, then you can try some other moves. Besides just going hand to hand, you can actually cause the bill to go down, have the bill come up. Now the way to make this look really real is to also use your other hand. Pretend that there's actually a special energy between your hands causing the bill to float. It's all acting. Watch. I lower my hand like this, it goes up from hand to hand. I cause the bill to go down, and now I use this hand to pretend like I'm pulling it up and back over to this hand. Now once I do that, that's when I start going around the bill like this, above the bill, which we know you're going in front of the thread, and underneath. It's very simple. Just play with it, have fun with it, and see how many different moves you can create. Once you master the bill, you can float many other objects. In fact, I'd like to show you some of my favorites. Before I show you the other objects you can float, I'd like to show you how to transfer the wax. Now, if you remember from before, I showed you how to place the wax on the bill. I place the wax right here on the bill next to the picture in that dark area. I do this for a few reasons. Reason number one is so that the wax is always in the same location. So when I want to scrape the wax off, like I'll show you in a moment, you know exactly where to go. Also, the wax can be used over and over again. As you use the wax over and over again and keep attaching it to money and coins and things like that, the wax will tend to get dirty or darker. the darker wax will blend right in with the darker color on the bill. Now, let me show you how to get the wax off the bill and transfer it to another object. You start out by uncrumbling the bill, and as you know, the wax is right there. As I uncrumble the bill, I take my finger towards the wax. Once your finger has located the piece of wax, take your thumbnail and scratch the wax off the bill like this. All this happens while the bill is up. And obviously I'm showing you, but while the bill is like this, the audience is out here. This is the site that you're seeing on the back. I scratch it off. It sticks to my finger because it's special magician's wax. Now, if I was to give this bill to the spectator for examination and they were to give me another bill or a coin, all I would have to do is grab it, squeeze, the wax would stick, and then I crumble the bill around the wax. It's that simple. Now that you know how to transfer the wax, we're going to show you some of our favorite objects to float. However, it's not limited to the objects we're about to show you. You can float anything that doesn't weigh too much. Experiment a little. We give you plenty of thread to try other objects. A good rule of thumb, not to float anything that weighs more than a number 2 pencil. When you float a coin, it looks like real magic. Here's how you do it. Take the wax, attach the wax to the edge of the coin like this. Press like this. That causes the wax to stick. Now, you'll notice the wax is on the edge of the coin. It's also on the top of the coin. If I was to let go of that coin and float it like this, you would see the wax. So, to make the wax disappear, we take the coin and we spin it lightly. People have trouble doing this because they often try to spin it with as quick as they can, and you do not have to do that. There's no resistance. Just take the coin and spin just like that. The wax goes around the outside of the coin, making it hard to see. Okay, once again we'll work on that spin. Take the coin, wax side up on the outside. Place your finger against the front edge, your thumb against the back, and just spin like this. Now, once the coin is spinning, you can do all the same moves you were doing with the dollar. You can cause it to go up and down. With the coin, it really looks good to follow the coin with the hand that's not attached to the thread. You can do things like this. Have it come up through your fingers, underneath again, around. And the great thing with the coin is if you just keep lowering your hand like this, you can raise the coin above your pocket, and then you just raise your hand up. It will actually fall into the pocket. We'll do that one more time. Take the coin, spin the coin, and just by lowering the hand you can cause the coin to come up and go right into your pocket. And that's how you float a coin. With a pen, I take the ball of wax, I attach it to the top end of the pen, away from the point, as I'm showing the pen. So I'll take the pen, I'll say, see the pen? And as I'm holding it like this, I squeeze the wax onto the end. I lay the pen on my hand like this, and now the tip of the pen touches the pad of my finger. As it does that, I lower this hand. That causes the pen to stand up. It looks like the pen's actually levitating. And you can actually make the pen go from your hand right into your pocket. And that looks like magic. And now we're going to show you how to present a business card or give your business card to somebody else. In fact, I'm going to have Adam show you.
What you do is you take your stack of business cards out of your pocket. Say, can I offer you a business card? Oh, let me just float one over there. Here, after you, here. And then you go to put them away. They say, oh, did you want one also? I'm sorry, here, wait. And then just hand it to them. And the setup for this is real easy, kind of flows. What you do is you start with the pack of business cards in your pocket. The wax is obviously stuck to your right thumb, and then on your thumbnail of your left hand. What you do is, as you go into your pocket to pull out the stack of business cards, you attach the wax to the back business card, the back of the back business card, towards the top. You can see that right there. So it's in the process of you taking it out, and it'll just stick to the business card more than your finger because the oil's on your finger. Immediately set the cards into your right hand where the wax is attached to your thumb, And as you lower your hand, the business card will naturally rise because of the thread. And that's all you have to do. As you're handing the business card out, your right thumb will be underneath, and you hand it to someone face up, and as they pull it, your left thumb will scratch the bottom, scraping it, and it'll come right off, and they can hold on to that. Then you take the pack of business cards you were previously holding, and you hold it again, reattaching it to the back one, sticking it right back in the pocket so you're reset. However, now it's still stuck to the back card in your pocket. When you lower your hand again, it'll come right out of your pocket, and there it is. Be sure to grab it before it spins around. This is a sure way that someone will hold on to your business card because they'll relay this story to other people. Another cool card floating effect is credit cards. But rather than floating it up the other way, what you do is you stick the wax in the center of the credit card, and you say to someone, I hope this credit card works, it's Australian. And when they kind of look at you like you're weird, you say, well, by Australian I mean because it boomerangs. And you just give it a toss. Because it's attached in the middle, it'll just revolve around its axis. You just give it a frisbee toss. The hardest part is catching it realistically. But it's not that difficult. It's going to come right back. Still attach to your thumb. You don't even have to have it attached to your thumb. You could have it attached to a button if you want. But just like that. And you just catch it. And the look on people's faces, because it's so unexpected when you pay the credit card. And again, when you want to hand the credit card back, you just scratch it and hand it to them face down, and they'll take it, and it'll work perfectly.
And here's something fun to do at a party. Take a bag of chips. Hey, anybody want a chip? Snap your fingers, have one chip float out into your mouth. Now what I normally do is once it's in my mouth, I say, hey, once I have everybody's attention, I spit the chip out again and I float it around just a little bit. You can actually eat the chip, but I prefer not to eat the wax. The wax is attached to the top of the chip, and if you see the wax, you can take another chip and actually stick the piece of chip over top of the wax. The wax is safe to eat, so it's not a big deal, but I just don't like to do that. Airport Magic Shop is totally against smoking. We do not promote smoking in any way. However, if you are above the legal age and you already have this habit, here's something you can do with a pack of cigarettes. One cigarette can float out of the pack and right to your mouth. If after waving your hands around the bill, people still think there's threads, which some people do, you can take the bill, place it inside a jar like this, close the jar, latch the jar, and actually cause the bill to float inside the jar. How's that work? Very simple. This is an airtight jar. You buy it in almost any department store. Look in the kitchen section. All you have to do is when you buy the jar, open the jar, there's a rubber rim that goes around the outside of the lid. Pull that off. It comes right off. Now, when you close the jar, it's no longer airtight. It has a small slit right there. All you have to do is pull away with the jar. When you pull away with the jar, the bill goes up. The thread's just going right through that crack. Alright? And if you do it in speed, you go like this. You show it. I like to tilt the jar forward. That causes the bill to float in the middle as opposed to along the back edge. Besides this type of a jar, if you do have the airtight style jar, all you have to do is float the bill into the jar like this and place the lid or the airtight sealed cork or whatever's in the top on the jar, and the bill won't go up and down, but it'll still float in the middle like that. Then all you do is remove the cork or remove the top, and it'll actually float out again. If you don't have that type of a jar and you're in a restaurant or a bar, you can actually put it inside a glass. When it's inside the glass, grab like a coaster or put your hand on top of the glass, bring the glass away from you, and it'll still rise inside the glass. I like to take this trick everywhere I go, and I leave it hooked up all the time. People often wonder, how do you leave it hooked up without the string getting tangled up in your everyday movement? I'm going to show you. Watch. Take the bill, place it into your pocket if you have a shirt pocket. I take the little piece of wax and I stick it to a button like that. It's attached, I feel it, I can still talk, drink, socialize, and whenever I want to do the trick, I just turn like this, reach for the bill. As I'm reaching for the bill, this thumb scratches the little ball of wax off the button. I stick it to my thumbnail. As I'm pulling this out, I turn back around and I'm ready to go. The only thing you'll notice is you will feel the thread in front of your face. Nobody will see it, but you will feel and know it's there. If you're eating or you're having drinks or whatever, and you don't want this thread in the way, just take the thread and tuck it behind your ear like that. Now I have free movement. I can eat, I can drink, I can socialize, and then when I know I'm about to do the trick, I can either just reach up like this and get it off my ear while nobody's looking, turn like this, reach for the bill, scratch off that little wax, and we are set up and ready to go. It's that simple. The thread should last forever. You can use it over and over again. When you're done performing the trick, take it off your head, take the piece of wax, attach it to a business card or a playing card or anything like that, and then I take the thread and I slowly wrap the thread around the card. Make sure you note where you start. I normally take the first piece and put it close to the corner so that when you unwrap the thread, you know which end is the one you attach to your thumb and which end attaches to the bill. I do this, I peel the wax off the bill, and then I stick that somewhere in the middle, just like that. And then I take this thread and I either place it in a little envelope, place it in my wallet or in my pocket, and I'm ready to go. If I'm out and about and I know I'm going to do the trick at some point, I'll excuse myself, go to the bathroom, or just go into another room where there's nobody at, and then I'll take this, unthread it, hook it up, stick it to my button, and then I'll walk out and I'm ready to perform. As mentioned earlier in the tape, where we said if you had trouble with the thread sliding off your hair, you can do it this way. Take a pair of glasses if you wear glasses. Place the thread over the nose part of the glasses like this. Place the glasses on, and now the same thing. It attaches to your finger, and you still have the same pulley system, pulling up and down just like this. The only difference is when you do it over the glasses, use a shorter piece of thread than you would use over your head. And now an even simpler method. Instead of using the thread over the head, you can take a small piece of invisible thread like this, take some clear tape or scotch tape, stick it to the one end, take the wax, stick it to the other end. I attach it to a straw. Stick the piece of tape in your mouth, balance the straw, and then I take the straw and place it inside the jar or inside a bottle and watch. By bringing the bottle away, the straw will rise. By bringing it back, it falls. You can actually cause it to rise into your hand, and if you want, set the bottle down, and you can cause the straw to float hand to hand, like that. It's pretty simple. Anything you want, you can attach to the thread. Bills, coins, all the same stuff. It's just easier. All you're doing is turning your head left and right.
Well, I hope you enjoyed all the floating effects. Now we're going to give you two bonus effects that are almost as good as any floating trick I've ever seen. This is the first one. It uses a dollar bill. What we're going to do is if we wave my fingers at the dollar like so, you'll find something very magical happen. It almost takes on a life of its own. It begins to fold itself, not once, not twice, but 3 times into a little square. Here's the explanation for the self-folding dollar bill. What you do is get a dollar bill, preferably a crisper one, and you're going to fold it one time lengthwise like this. Just fold it up. Now you're going to fold it in half again, and then fold each one of these pieces down. So you get a nice little square, just like that. Okay? Now you're not using the invisible thread for this. You're going to use just basic black thread from a sewing kit or whatever, or you can use green. It doesn't really matter that much. It's not going to be that visible. Alright? You're going to thread that onto a sewing needle like so, and you're going to tie the other end to a safety pin. Okay? You're going to take the needle. If you're under 18, you should get a parent to help you with this. You're going to thread the needle through the bottom corner, right through the one, through the bill, and you're going to pull it through with the thread. Okay? After that, you can take the needle out. You no longer need that. And you're going to take a small piece of wax that, like we provided, you're going to stick it to one end of the sewing thread, and you're just going to stick it to the bill. Pull it tight, and then just stick that to the bill, and you're ready to go. Open up the bill. When you open it up, you'll notice you're going to have some threads going right across the bill, but they shouldn't be at non-suspicious points, and if you do it right, there should be a line right there, but 2 lines on both sides of George Washington, and 1 down here. But all the dark should be covered by the markings on the bill. The safety pin you're going to pin to the back of your pants, maybe to a belt loop or something like that, and now you're ready to perform. So, basically as before, here's the thread to the back of my pants, here's the bill. I'm going to place the thread between my ring finger and my middle finger like so, and kind of set the bill back on my hand. And when you perform it, all you have to do is you're going to move your butt back and move your hand forward. The bill will start to move forward like so. It should start to fold up, and 1, 2, 3. Just keep extending your hand, and then whatever. If you find that you have to extend your hand too far, your butt back too much, you might want to be using a shorter thread. This is probably a slightly too long for me right now, but you get the idea. Have fun, practice it a few times. It's a very easy effect, but it really does look just like such magic. Now I'm going to teach you not how to float a lightweight object, but how to actually float yourself, or at least create the illusion that you're floating yourself. This is a very easy trick, but it's a very strong piece of magic. It's actually been featured on TV by some magicians. And I'm going to teach you how to do it. I'm going to show you what it looks like first. What you do, the only thing you need to do is take off your shoes, and you just turn around. And if you look at my feet, you will see that I am able to levitate myself at least a couple inches with no prior setup. Just like that. And the way this works, it's very simple. There's no setup, like I said. You don't have to do anything special except take off your shoes. So you don't probably want to do this in a bar that has like beer spilt all over the place. But it's a great trick to show in the living room. You don't want to show it to a large group of people though. 2 to 3 max, realistically. But if you do it for 1, that's ideal. What's actually happening is if you catch the right angle, if someone catches the right angle, is they can't see your foot. So if you look at my feet, you'll notice, you look at the back, but when I'm actually standing up on my right tippy toe. So when I stand up on my right tippy toe though, my right heel and my whole left foot goes up. And you see the whole left foot go up, and you see the right heel go up, so it creates the illusion. You assume that you must actually be levitating. So when I go like this, what's actually happening, it looks like this without my foot there. Is my foot there? It helps if you're wearing baggier pants, obviously. And again, so one more time. Now, I know now that you know how the secret, it seems silly and it just seems a little ridiculous that you're just standing up on your toe trying to convince someone that you're levitating. But this is very convincing. It's all your acting. If you kind of say, oh, let me show you a trick, and it's done in a corny way, people will obviously figure out you're standing up on your toe. However, if you really sell this as real magic and say you want to see the most amazing thing you've ever seen in your life, watch this, and really convince the person that it's just unbelievable, they will believe it and you'll freak them out. But be careful with this and be wary. This is a very strong piece of magic, and if it's sold to the person correctly, then you very well might have them think you're doing something more than just a trick. So, take it easy. But practice it. The best way to practice it more than anything else is find a friend who you trust and set it up and do it, catch the angle and see where he has to position himself. Probably about a couple feet away and 1 step to the right or left, depending on which angle you're going to do it. And to experiment with it, and you can try it with each other and see where they're standing and where you're standing and the best way to do it and how to turn your body. Once you practice it a few times, once you get the right angle, you'll know where it is. You'll be able to freak people out anytime. I hope you enjoyed this presentation of float. If you practice all the effects on here, you will be able to create the most amazing illusion that you are actually floating all different sorts of items. It is worth practicing. Put the 5-10 minutes in. The more time you put in, obviously, the better it'll look. And this is one of those effects that it really is worth putting in more time so that it can look even better. But 5-10 minutes of practice is all you realistically need to fool anyone. You should have a ample amount of thread, but in some unlikely event that you run out, more likely that something you either lose it or a cat gets a hold of the thread when it's still in its whole piece, you can reorder from us. If you go to the website at airportmagicshop.com, you can reorder the whole packet. You don't have to pay the $24.95 again. Just go to the website, send us an email, click on the order form, and you'll be able to order another thread pack, or if you just need the wax, that's fine also. Remember, you can reuse the wax over and over, so you can use an older piece, but if the wax just becomes so dirty or so whatever, just email us or go to the website and we'll send you more. Thank you very much. There's also other great effects there. If you enjoy float, check us out online and see if there's any other effects that you might enjoy just as much.